Okay, so today we will be having our new lesson. So last time, di ba, we had discussed about the strategic analysis and inductive thinking kasama dun ang societal networks. No? Okay, so now we will be jumping into another network we call global networks. Okay, so we are not going to stick in society now, pero we are going to tackle about global networks. No, kung naalala ninyo, last time I have given you the pre-activity about global networks, about globalization. Okay, so we are going to tackle about the types of globalization, the different types of globalization. No, ano nga ba yung mga yun at ano yung nilalaman nito? Okay, so global networks. Okay, so when we say globalization, okay, would you mind to read? Okay, what is globalization? As cited in Revisita de Strategia, okay, in 2012. Kindly read, Charles. Again, kindly read, Charles. What is globalization?
Globalization, as cited in the Revisita de Statica 2012, the term globalization refers to the emergence of an international network belonging to an economic and social system. One of the earliest uses of the term globalization, as known, was in 1930 in a publication entitled Towards New Education to designate an overview of the human experience in education.
Okay, so when we say globalization, this is an economic and social system. Okay, so alam naman natin, okay, kung ano yung globalization, especially right now. Okay, so medyo alam na to ng mga generation ngayon because of, sa mga nangyayari. Okay, so other countries have been affected by the chaos or everything that happens in other countries. Okay, because of globalization. Okay, meron tayong economic and social system na tinatawag kung saan meron tayong mga relationships together with other countries. Another definition. Okay, according to Roland Robertson, a professor of sociology at the University of Aberdeen, was the first person who defined globalization as the understanding of the world and the increased perception of the world as a whole. According naman kay Martin Albro and Elizabeth King, which is a sociologist, okay, they define globalization as all those processes by which the peoples of the world are incorporated into a single world society. May di ba meron tayong mga tinatawag na tawag ito European Unions, the EU, no? Meron tinatawag ng United Nations, okay? So this can be an example of globalization. Meron tayong society of the different countries now in the world. Okay, so again, for the last definition, would you mind to read, Jessa?
It is a process of interaction and integration among the people, companies, and governments of different nations, a process driven by international trade and investment and aid by information technology.
Okay, so this globalization, di ba? Yung pakikipagano natin sa mga ibang bansa, this process has effects, okay, on the environment, not just on the environment, but also on the culture, on political system, on economic development natin, on prosperity natin, and also on human physical well-being on societies around the world. So for many developing nations, globalization has led to an improvement in standard of living, through improved roads, transportations, improved healthcare, improved education, due to the global expansion of corporations. However, globalization pa din has had a negative effect on individuals who live in developed nations. Now, some of the factors that cause globalization are migration tsaka labor. Ano nga ba yung migration tsaka labor? When we say migration, okay, from the word itself, migrate, it is a movement to another place, often of a large group of people, okay, especially the OFWs. Okay, that's the best example of migrating people. Now, migration, a movement to another place, often of a large group of people. Hindi lang po sa hayop na, hindi lang yung mga migratory birds na tinatawag. Okay, so pati po sa tao. Labor. Sinabi natin labor from the word itself. It is defined as work, especially hard physical work. Okay, so people are more willing to move between countries today in search for work. So remittances now play a large role in transfers from developed countries to developing countries. Okay, so yun yung isang negative yung effect para doon sa mga large countries na. Okay, kasi sabi nila, many people are going abroad, of course, kasi nga mas maganda yung opportunity doon. Okay, and they are transferring, of course, no remittances from the other countries to the developing country. Okay, so that is migration tsaka labor. Okay, especially nangyayari sa mga OFWs. Napunta tayo sa mga iba't ibang uri ng globalization. Okay, meron tayong types of globalization, if I'm not mistaken, these are 7. Okay, isa-isahin natin sila. Next, economic globalization. Okay, so would you mind to read what economic globalization is? So kindly read, Humphrey. Again, kindly read, Humphrey, economic globalization. How about the others? Would you mind to read, Daryl?
Economic globalization is the increasing economic integration and interdependence of national, regional, and local economies across the world through an intensification of cross-border movement of goods, services, technologies, and capital.
Okay, very good. So when we say economic globalization, okay, sa pagka-word itself, globalization, that's talking about the economics. Okay, yung ekonomiya ng isang bansa. Okay, so meron tayo palitan ng mga goods. Okay, di ba dati meron tayong barter change together with the other countries. No, noon pa. Pero ngayon, okay, so mas malawak na inaabot okay, ng ating economic globalization through the movement of goods, no, services, technologies, and capital. Okay, so yung mga inaangkat natin, no, meron tayong mga ini-import okay, outside the country, meron din naman tayong mga ina-export. Okay, so meron tayo ng mga ganun. Let's say for example, although we have a lot of a lot of rice, no, here in the Philippines, but still, no, we are we are getting rice from the other countries. Kaya ganoon din naman yung ibang goods. Ganoon din naman tayo. We are importing other goods nor exporting other goods not to the other countries. So that's globalization when it comes to economic. Okay, the movement ng mga goods, ng mga services, technologies, and capital. Next. So another examples pala ng economic globalization ito. Okay, so mga transnational trades, yung mga trades, no, are companies that extend beyond the borders of one country. Example of this are Unilever and McDonald's. Okay, so McDonald's, di ba galing sila sa ibang bansa, pero meron din tayo sa Philippines. Okay, so ito yung mga example no, ng mga economic globalization, no, and the others. No, yung mga foreign investments. Okay, so mga kasama yan sa tinatawag natin global economic globalization. Next, social globalization. So would you mind to define what social globalization is? Kindly read, Kim.
Social globalization is a social transformation or process leading to the achievement of people-centered development. Human-centered development concept is offered as an alternative strategy to bring about a more equity development outcome.
Okay, very good. So social globalization, from the word itself, has something to do with socialization. Okay, social transformation on process leading to the achievement of people-centered development. Okay, anong mga example ng social globalization? Yung kanina economic globalization, ang example niya are yung mga trades. Okay, when it comes to goods and services. Pagdating naman sa social globalization, now we are talking about partnership. Okay, we are talking about the human-centered Okay, development concept. Okay, so another example dito ay yung UN. No, the United Nations General Assembly. Ano pa? Partnership of International Development Programs, social integration, gender equity, and access to social services. No, HIV or AIDS awareness. Okay, so all of the things no, that has something to do with human-centered, no, and when it comes to development. Okay, so it has something to do with social globalization. Okay, so socializing with other countries, no, about a particular aspects, okay, which directly, directly affecting no, the human being. Okay, so kaya meron tayong mga examples ng samahan, okay, or partnerships. So that's social globalization. Next, political globalization. So would you mind to read what is a political globalization, Rodeline?
Political globalization refers to an increasing trend toward multilateralism and an emerging transnational state apparatus and the emergence of national and international non-governmental organizations that act as watchdogs over governments. The government has four distinct roles in addressing sustainability concerns. These roles are as follows: policy development, regulation, facilitation, internal sustainability management.
Okay, so political globalization is different from societal also. Tawag dito, from the other one, which is the social globalization. Okay, we are talking about the problems in the social, no, in the society. Okay, pagdating sa political naman, okay, so globalization, no, it's a group, okay, politically. Okay, meron tayong mga government organizations no, na binubuo no, regarding politically. Okay, so ano ba yung mga roles na nandoon? Meron tayong policy development, okay, regulation, facilitation, okay, internal sustainability management. Okay, so kagaya ng mga ibang bansa, kasama tayo sa yung tawag ito, ICC na tinatawag. Okay, sa International Criminal Court. Okay, so meron din tayong mga iba't iba pang samahan. Okay, so the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. Okay, it can be politically globalization, it can be under that. As long as kung ano yung pinag-uusapan nila. Okay, it has something to do with this, no, policy development, regulation, policy facilitation, or internal sustainability management. No, that will be under again political globalization. Okay, so maganda rin yung political globalization para hindi rin nagkakaroon ng gulo. Especially, okay, di ba meron tayong mga tinatawag na bilateral. Okay, so that's globalization between two. Pero this one, political globalization with so many countries, tinatawag natin siya multilateralism. Kaya hindi lang siya bilateral na dalawang bansa lang. Okay, so this is a multilateral kasi nga maraming bansa. Okay, yung nandito sa isang global, sa isang organization na ganito. Okay, so that's political globalization. Next is financial globalization. So would you mind to read what is a financial globalization? Kindly read, Damian.
Is a collective concept that refers to increasing global linkages created through cross-border financial flow. Financial integration refers to an individual country's linkages to international capitalization market.
Okay, so financial globalization is a collective concept that refers to increasing global linkages created through cross-border financial flow. Financial integration refers to an individual country's linkages to international capital markets. Okay, so when it comes to financing naman na, okay, di ba, meron tayong mga iba't ibang markets outside the country. Okay, especially kapag umaangkat tayo ng ibang produkto like the crude, no, or the oil, especially now. Okay, so medyo mataas na ang mga presyo. Okay, so when it comes to financial, meron din tayo, of course, hindi lang yung goods na binabayaran din natin. That's financial globalization. So meron din tayong, let's say for example, kinakapos ng bansa when it comes to the budget. Kaya pa pwede tayong humiram no, with other countries, humiram ng financially to the World Bank. Okay, so that is financial globalization. Okay, so all of those globalization may maybe positive no, to us, but of course, no, hindi natin may tatanggi that there are also negative effects, okay, on the part of the globalization. Okay, but that topic will be by next meeting pa kasi, no, kung ano ba yung mga positive tsaka negative effect ng globalization. Okay, pero that's financial no globalization, no? So has something to do with the finance, no, or capital. Next is technological globalization. Technological globalization is accelerated in large part by technological transmission, the spread of technology across borders. Although the Philippines is not the world's least technologically advanced country, it is far from leading. It ranks 83rd out of 138 countries in terms of technological readiness, according to the Department of Science and Technology. Okay, given naman yan, now we are not that techie, no, kumbaga na country. Okay, although hindi naman tayo yung pinakakulala, pero still, no, that's far away pa din. No, and 83rd out of 138 countries when it comes to being technologically advanced, okay, still far from reality. Okay, so we need to put up efforts pa in order for us not to be more advanced when it comes to technology. Okay, so unlike the other countries, diba? The America, the Japan, okay? So yung technological globalization, meron pa rin naman as is na sa ating technological transmission, of course, no, satellites, okay, internet, okay, pumapasok na rin naman yung ibang bansa when it comes to the connectivity. Okay, so that is technology. Okay, so technological globalization. No, and siguro with this globalization, no, with the more years to come, okay, so ito na siguro yung magiging importante sa lahat. Okay, ito rin magiging pinaka-critical no, technology. Okay, kasi we are moving forward not to a more advanced okay society no, using technology. Next is ecological globalization. Would you mind to read what is ecological globalization? Kindly read, Ira. Is Ira there? If none, kindly read Erich.
Ecological globalization occurs when ecosystems are constantly exchanging materials through the movement of air in the atmosphere. The flow of water is reversed and the migration of animals across the landscape. The world is also becoming highly interconnected through the movement of people and the transport of goods locally, globally.
Okay, very well. So ecological globalization has something to do with ecology. Okay, the ecosystems are constantly exchanging materials now through the movement of air in the atmosphere. Okay, so sometimes it is uncontrollable, no, kumbaga. Okay, inevitable, kumbaga, no, the flow of water in the rivers, no, when it comes to the air, di ba? Kaya nga tayo nakakaranas ng ating amihan. Okay, wala naman tayong 4 seasons. Okay, di ba? So yung ating amihan na nararanasan natin tuwing December, January, at even February, na nangyagaling din sa ibang bansa. Okay, kasi may high pressure from the Siberia. Okay, so bumababa yun, yung malamig na hangin, kaya tayo nagkakaroon din no, ng amihan. Okay, so nawawala lang siya kapag ang high pressure napunta na dito sa Pacific. Kaya nagkakaroon na ng easterlies at nagsisimula na yung ating tag-init. Okay, so that is one example of ecological globalization. Okay, so meron tayong what we call this uncontrollable na ganun mga bagay. Pero did the flow of water in the rivers. Okay? So meron tayong migration of animals, di ba? So if other countries, no, merong mga animals na nagmamigrate into another one, kasi minsan nagtagyelo na, okay, so they need to migrate to other countries in order to survive. Okay, para babalik rin naman sila. Okay, so that is ecological globalization. And lastly, tinatawag nating geographical globalization. Okay, so geographical globalization is defined as the set of processes, okay, it can be economic, social, cultural, technological, an institution that contributes to the relationship between societies and individuals around the world. It is a progressive process by which exchanges and flows between different parts of the world are intensified. Okay, so these are sets of processes na sinabi yung geographical, kasama na economic, social, cultural, technological, institutional, okay, which contributes to the relationship between societies. So it is a progressive process by which exchanges and flows between different parts of the world are intensified. So geographical globalization na pangkalahatan na. The economic, social, cultural, technological, and even institutional. Okay, so before we go to your activity, balikan natin. Tandaan yung different types of globalization. Different types of globalization: economic globalization, social, political, financial, technological, ecological, and geographical. Okay, so lahat po ito kasama sa examination. Okay, on March 14, 15, and 16. So by next meeting, ko i-announce yung ating what we call this, yung ating pointers to review. Okay, so for now, let's have first your activity. This is just an essay type. Okay, I will be giving instructions first bago kayo tawag dito, sagot. Kindly look for the lesson package entitled Trends, Lesson Global Networks. At the bottom part of it, meron dyan a quiz or activity. Kindly hit the take quiz button o password is needed. Okay, this is just an essay type. This is 4 items, 5 points each, 20 points. No? Ito lang muna, examine the picture below. Examine nyo muna yung picture here. Then try to answer the separate sheet of paper. Okay? So ito yung picture. Now this is for the entire 4 questions. Then answer the questions 1, 2, 3, and 4. What does the picture symbolize us? Okay? So sa 1 and 2, magkasama na sila dito. Sa 1, lagyan na lang ng number kapag may sasagot. Okay? So what does the picture symbolize? Okay? Ano yung sa tingin niyo yan? What can you say about the picture in terms of interconnectedness of people and nation? Okay? So ano yung masasabi mo pagdating sa interconnectedness? Okay, ng nation tsaka ng people. Based on the picture, ha? That's the first one, 1 and 2. Pakinumber na lang. The second one, 3 at 4. Pakinumber na lang din. Answer the question now. Does cooperation and collaboration important in the scenario given in the picture? Why or why not? Okay, so importante ba yung collaboration at cooperation? Okay, doon sa pinakitang picture in that particular scenario. Okay, if yes, then why? If not, then why again? Okay, so justify your answer. Last one. As a senior high school student, give 3 activities in your daily life during the pandemic that show cooperation and collaboration that have an impact on globalization. Sa tingin ninyo, okay? Bilang senior high school, okay? So kindly think of 3 activities, okay, na nagawa ninyo in your daily life during the pandemic which shows cooperation and collaboration. Okay, which do you think have an impact on globalization? Okay, so pakilagay dyan and then kindly justify your answer. Is that clear? Kindly hit the thumbs up button kung clear yan. Okay, very well. So you may now start answering your activity. Now for the remaining time of ours.